Alrighty, boys and girls, let's continue our investigation. Alright, so as I was saying when I left off the last time, you need some materials for this part. So you will need a flashlight, hopefully not one that is LED, because an LED one doesn't really heat up. And you need a textbook, and I'm using my Math Plus Red book. And I'm going to go ahead and tape. Now I used a little teeny bit of masking tape up here. You don't need much to hold one sheet of paper on here. And make sure you don't damage the book. So just a little bit of tape up here. And I needed another book because we need to lay this book on one to have an angle. So I'm going to make sure that we have all of that. And another either a book or a box or something to lay your flashlight on top of so that you can point it to the paper on a certain place on your paper and measure from the flashlight up to 10 centimeters. 10 centimeters. And then I made a line because that's where I'm going to lay my fingers to see how long it takes me to feel the warmth of the flashlight. So before I do that, on your directions, it kind of tells you to kind of experiment a little bit with your flashlight. So you want to turn it on, and you want to see if you feel any warmth from the light. And I definitely feel warmth on mine, especially this close up and directly on here. So, but as the directions say to kind of move your hand away from the light and see how warm it is. And I notice that the farther away I move my hands, the less heat I feel. Okay? And the other thing, the other mention here on the investigation is to kind of, first of all, hold your hand up here and then kind of fan your hands out, your fingers out a little bit to see how much warmth you feel when that happens. And I'm kind of feeling a lot less heat on this angle. Okay, and as I go farther out, it's even less. Okay, so that was just a little practice you're supposed to do with your flashlight, and then just describe what you feel based on what you do. Go ahead and pause the video and do that, okay? And then press play and we'll move on. So now that you've pressed play to move on, I'm setting up my flashlight so that it's shining on my paper at an angle. Alright? And just like our directions show, I made a line right here 10 centimeters up from the light. Okay? And we're going to put our finger on here. We're going to measure how long it takes to feel warmth up here at this 10 centimeter point. So I'm going to set my timer or my stopwatch and see how long it takes. I'm going to not be exactly right here because I need to press start here and then press on to my flashlight. So it's not going to be exactly right. So it'll be close. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start and then turn the light on. Okay, and I'm going to feel what this feels like up here, and I'm going to wait and see how long it takes to get warm. I think I'm feeling just a little bit of warmth here. Okay, a little bit more. Maybe I'm moving my fingers down. No? I feel just a little bit of warmth up here, and I don't know if it's actually on the paper or if it's on my fingers up a little bit higher. But I feel a little bit of warmth right here now, and it's been about 45 seconds. So it takes about 45 seconds for me to feel warmth here on this paper from the light. Okay, so I'm going to turn it off for a minute. Kind of let my paper cool off all the way, and I'm going to just write on here. It took about 45 seconds. The last time I practiced this, it took me over a minute to feel the heat. So it took about 45 seconds Now, if I did this 3 times, I would have 3 trials, which would be a much better test, but I'm only going to try it 1 time with this video. So about 45 seconds to feel the heat. And that's all I need to write on that part. So the next part of the investigation, I'm supposed to repeat that kind of process, only I need to put my book at sort of a perpendicular angle to my table here. And I'm going to shine my light directly onto my paper, but I think there's another part of the investigation here I have to think about. 10 centimeters away. All right, I've already measured that on a piece of paper. I used my ruler and I started at 0 and then I measured exactly 10 centimeters and I drew a line. So I know that exactly 10 centimeters will be where my light will start shining. Oh, that's good, my box fell apart. My flashlight fell. That's okay. That happens with investigations. All right, so I have my 10 centimeter point here. And I need to move the box back. All right, so I'm lining up the light part of my flashlight with my 10 centimeter line, which is pointing onto my paper exactly 10 centimeters away from it. All right, but it's pointing now, instead of at an angle, directly on the paper. Okay, so I think that's what the investigation says to do. Right, it does. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my timer again. And I'm going to put my fingers on the paper and see how long it takes for me to feel the warmth of the light on the paper. Okay? All right. I am already feeling the warmth from this light. Right here, right directly across from that light. And it only took 16 seconds for me to feel the warmth right there. And it's a lot hotter. Okay, wow, that was pretty cool. So I'm going to write that down. It took about 17 seconds to feel the heat on the paper. And just with that little bit of an investigation, boys and girls, I have proven that direct light striking an object is warmer or hotter than light shining at an angle, indirect light. Okay, I've already figured that out. So it was much faster that second time because that light was falling directly onto the paper. Okay. The first time around, it was striking the paper at an angle, okay, so it took a lot longer to feel that heat. So direct light produces more heat than indirect light, or a light striking something at an angle. So think about that, and tomorrow, boys and girls, we're going to have a quick little video about how that affects the seasons and why we have seasons on Earth. All right, so we will continue this tomorrow. Thanks for joining.